Just about everyone is familiar with the Calvin Klein brand, and one of its most famous perfumes ever produced is called Obsession. Obsession, which I have right here, the full bottle. This is actually a bottle I got from my mother for her birthday, because, you know, it's from that era, so it's one of her favorite perfumes. As you could see, she's already used quite a lot of it, and it's only been a couple months since I got it for her. But anyway, this is obviously quite a very sleek bottle, kind of in the shape of an egg, and the cap is metallic with a nice shoulder on the glass. So this perfume, which is an eau de parfum, came out originally in 1985, and it was a very characteristic perfume for that decade. It was extremely popular. It sold quite a few bottles, and its aim was to be a very seductive, kind of almost animalistic sort of fragrance. And even the design of the bottle, it's kind of hard to see the color of the liquid, but it's kind of a really rusty orange with a bit of redness in it. And overall, it's just this really kind of sensual kind of scent. So I'll put some on and describe some of the notes that it has to offer. Let's see. So right away, there's quite a lot of just spice and I guess citrus. It's almost a little bit Christmassy, but then it kind of drags you in with this more musky scent, which is far from Christmassy. So the top notes, it's very woody as well. It's interesting. It's an interesting kind of battle of different scents. So the top notes have vanilla, basil, bergamot, mandarin orange, peach, lemon, and some green notes. So I would say right off the bat that the citrus notes like the lemon are definitely very prominent. But it's not really a fresh, bright, or clean scent. It's more of almost a dried citrus. You know, like you roasted a lemon in the oven or something. And same with the orange and bergamot. As for the vanilla is also very present. It has not a cloying sweetness, but just a very present kind of bourbon vanilla sort of note. And from there, the middle notes immediately become much kind of stronger and bolder. Mainly sandalwood, coriander, oak moss, cedar, orange blossom, jasmine, and rose. And the floral notes, I would say, are relatively faint. You can tell that they're there mainly just because of the distant sweetness that this perfume has, but at the same time, it's kind of layered over those woody notes, you know, the cedar, the sandalwood, which is, it has a very natural, rugged, almost kind of lumberjack feel to it. Those wood notes in particular, and even the oak moss really, and the coriander for the spice. And then the base notes, amber, incense, vanilla, civet, musk, and vetiver. So the civet is definitely present, but I always compare civet notes to Chanel No. 5 because Chanel No. 5 has an extremely distinct civet note, especially as it dries. And compared to that civet note, I would say that this civet in Obsession, Calvin Klein, it is very prominent, but it isn't as prominent as the civet in Chanel No. 5. It's more... The civet is distracted, I think, by those notes of vanilla and amber and just general musk. But there's a sharpness that's confusing me because I haven't smelled it before. It's like it wants to be sweet, but it isn't. It more kind of evolves into a woody not smoky, but more of just a woody, rugged fragrance. So this is definitely it has that animalistic quality that it was definitely going for when it first came out in the mid-80s. Definitely a very kind of heavy, sultry, sexy fragrance. And there's nothing that is, it's not a clean or refreshing scent. It's really kind of a warm, intense, heavy scent. And there's not, the sweet, there is a whisper of sweetness, which I think comes from the very few floral and citrus notes. But that sweetness is almost, you could almost not even register it. It's more prominent when you first put it on, those kind of opening notes, but like even now, just a few minutes of wear, those sweet notes kind of devolve and get replaced with the wood and the incense and the civet and stuff like that. So it's a very interesting fragrance, this. I guess because animalistic fragrances were pretty unique at that time. But yeah, it almost, I guess it is a little bit smoky. It has a distant air, like as if someone were having a bonfire, like a block down or 2 blocks down from your house, and the smoke was kind of wafting over, you know, it has that distant smokiness. Not as smoky as Shalimar by Guerlain, and not as incensey, but it does have that distant smokiness, which is, I think, a really nice touch, especially for what this perfume is going for. Definitely, I mean, prime, sexy perfume. And this is also, I would say, a very long-lasting perfume. It probably lasts, on an average, around 6 to 7 hours. And the interesting thing about it is that even, it is a relatively strong perfume, but even if you drench yourself in it, it will only hit a certain limit of strength. So even if you just cover yourself in this perfume, in my opinion, it wouldn't become overwhelming, it wouldn't become a toxic cloud. It would still be nice to wear, nice for people to detect if they happen to be around you. And as for the sillage, the sillage is quite good actually. Quite strong, quite prominent. It projects very well from the body. It's not one of those, meek, hardly detectable perfumes. It's definitely one of those perfumes that almost like a pheromone, it kind of just emanates from your being. And the price is actually quite agreeable as well. Usually around $50. It's not like, $100 or $200. It's much more reasonable than many other designer perfumes. So overall, this is definitely a very good perfume to wear. Definitely for the evening, of course, being a such a sensual perfume and being designed to be, sensual and kind of animalistic. Very good for the evening. Of course, you can wear it during the daytime. I personally wouldn't say that this is great for the summer because I feel that the heat of, the summer would intensify this fragrance in a way that is just too much. But that is up to everyone's, preferences. I would personally say that this is more of a cold weather perfume or an evening perfume. But other than that, very good fragrance. I personally quite like it. I would say just because of those vanilla notes that kind of swivel in at the end and mix in with the smoky notes, I would say this is like a 8 out of 10 or maybe 9 out of 10. Pretty high on my list. But other than that, that's all I have to say about Obsession. If you have anything to say about this very interesting perfume, you could leave a comment down below. Maybe leave a like or subscribe, and I make videos throughout the week, so stick around for those.